Hi, everyone. This is Ryan coming to you with another traction tip, coming to you on solitary confinement lockdown. That's right. I tested positive for COVID-19 a few days ago. Don't worry. I'm feeling great with some prayer and rest. I am back to 100%. And that's what we want to talk about today, how to make sure your teams are at 100%. We're going to talk about a daily huddle. In our EOS world, we talk a lot about weekly meetings. We call those level 10s, why your team can benefit from a weekly meeting. And for most teams in most scenarios, the weekly meeting is enough. It gives you what you need, you're good to go. But sometimes your team needs and can benefit from more frequent pulsing than weekly. Could you imagine? Can you imagine a general? You're at war, and the general's like, "All right, folks, we just had our weekly meeting. It's Tuesday. See you in 6 days." No, that'd be crazy. You need much more communication, much more touches than that. Or imagine this, using our daily huddle analogy. Imagine you're on a football team. You don't start the game with a plan and then not discuss it throughout the entire game and then just kind of see what happens. You're literally meeting and discussing changes and tweaks between almost every play in the huddle. So you may need a daily huddle. So let's talk about that. Who are some of the teams that could benefit from daily huddle? Well, if you're very transactional, you do a lot of small things. For example, I worked at a restaurant in high school and college, learning what are the specials for today, what are the things we need to work on from yesterday, how do we make the team a little bit better, how do we solve some issues. Those are great reasons to have daily huddles. If you're on a team that's unusually busy, imagine retailers at Christmas time. They can benefit from a daily huddle. Or this is where COVID-19 may come in. If you are in a very chaotic, unusual environment, you can definitely benefit from a daily huddle. So if your team is not used to all the chaos that you may be getting right now, this is another reason for a daily huddle. So, what are some of the things that we can accomplish with a daily huddle? Well, they help our companies and our teams pulse faster, so we can solve issues more quickly. They just help team communication in uncertain times. Not telling your team members things because you say, "Hey, well, I don't know, I can't tell them anything." That's the worst thing you can do. You need to over communicate in times like these, and daily huddles are a great platform for that. And then ultimately, it helps your team perform better, which helps your customers. Happy team equals happy customers. That's another great reason to have a daily huddle. What should you cover? What is an agenda for a daily huddle? Well, I've seen a lot of great agendas that worked really well. I will give you a few tips here, tell you what I like for an agenda. I will keep it short and sweet. That is one of the big rules here for whatever your agenda is. This is an agenda that I like. Start off with a quick one sentence check in for each person, just something quick, generally positive, just a quick one sentence check in. Number two, where are we stuck from yesterday? This is our chance to go around the room. Hey, any stucks from yesterday we need to address today? And then lastly, number three, are there any problems or next steps that we need to address today? Anything from yesterday, or if you're looking into the future today, can you see any problems or any areas that we need to address? So any stucks from yesterday, any new items on the list today that we need to make sure we address. So those are three great things you can cover at an agenda on an agenda for a daily huddle. But listen, experiment here, figure out what works for your team. Don't be afraid to try some things and make changes, especially in times like this. What are some other tips to have a great huddle? I mentioned earlier, keep it short. We're talking 10 or 15 minutes maximum here. We called our huddles standings because we didn't want to let anyone sit down. We wanted to make sure they were short, and making everybody stand up helped us to keep them short. Number two, cadence is important here. Don't let anybody drone on and on. Remember Elmo, enough, let's move on. We call these things huddles. That means you need a good quarterback. So make sure we're moving the meeting on and don't get bogged down. This is our chance to solve problems and talk about issues, not to just report on statuses. So don't get bogged down in letting somebody just give you their status every day. Keep that in mind. We got to start on time and we've got to end on time. With that in mind, we like to have ours at odd times that help them kind of help keep them more memorable. So we were like 8:07 to 8:17 a.m. every day. So that's a good tip to just kind of start at an odd time to help it stick in people's minds. By the way, it doesn't have to be a morning meeting only. I've seen some great kind of check out meetings instead of a daily huddle in the morning. I've seen teams have a daily huddle in the afternoon. 4:48 to 4:58 p.m. You can have a great daily huddle at the end of the day. Some things like that because it gives the team a chance to kind of stick around on the phone socially after the meeting's over if they need to, which brings up a good point. Do you have to have them in person? If you can have them in person, in times like these, chances are the team is not all in one place. So have them virtually if you need to. I strongly recommend a camera, some app like Zoom or Teams to make sure you can see each other's faces. It'll be a better meeting if you can. I'll go ahead and tell you that now. Uh, if daily doesn't work, consider every other day, like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That can work well if daily doesn't work, but in many cases, daily works well. I still recommend have the weekly level 10. If you have your weekly, let's say you have your weekly level 10s on Friday, for example, have your daily huddles Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Skip the day when you have your level 10. Make it visual. I mentioned that already. If you have a software system that tracks tickets or issues, use that. We had a Kanban board that we like. Anything to kind of make it visual is very helpful there. And listen, they're not just for individual teams. They can work great for the leadership team too, especially in uncertain times. Your leadership team may benefit from more frequent meetings like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or even a daily huddle. And then lastly, perfect is the enemy of the good here. If you don't know where to start, just start. Call me if you have a question. I'm happy to help, but just get them started. Perfect is the enemy of good here. So make sure we get a good meeting started. We can tweak it, make it better as we go. So good luck. Have those daily huddles, and I'll talk to you next time.